My boyfriend canceled our wedding to marry my terminally ill sister. Now he's back because her life insurance ran out. The text from my ex arrived at 2 a.m. I know it's been 5 years, but I miss us. Can we talk? The same man who, hours before our wedding, told me he'd fallen in love with my sister during her cancer treatments. I still remember standing alone in our apartment surrounded by honeymoon luggage when he confessed. Your sister needs me more than you do, he said, eyes darting to the floor. The doctors are giving her a year at most. I can't abandon her now. What he meant was, my healthy sister had become the fragile, tragic heroine he could rescue. I was just. 3 weeks later, they married in the hospital chapel. I watched through reindeers as my mother adjusted my sister Ellie's headscarf with the same care she'd planned to use on my veil. Dad cried when he walked her down the aisle in her wheelchair. My family had their perfect tragic love story. Perned the devoted man who chose the dying sister. No one asked why Mark, who'd barely spoken to Ellie before her diagnosis, suddenly couldn't live without her. I moved across the country, blocked their numbers, and built a life where no one knew me as the sister who got left for the dying girl. I started a small business, made real friends, and learned to trust myself again. Dating was harder. Perned, how do you explain your trust issues? Began when your fiancé and sister became a Miller Time movie. Then 4 years into my new life, Ellie went into remission. The miracle no one expected. The congratulation texts from distant relatives included her smiling photos. Turned my sister and ex-fiancé traveling, buying a house, living the life we'd planned together. Each message felt like being abandoned all over again. But last month, my mother called in tears. Ellie's cancer is back. Helen 4 and Mark, he's gone. He cleared out their bank accounts while my sister was at chemo. Avery, the life insurance policy he'd insisted on, and disappeared until tonight's text. I made a terrible mistake. His second message read, I panicked when the doctor said the cancer was back. You were always the one I truly loved. I stared at my phone, remembering how he'd held my hand when we chose our first apartment, how he'd laughed when I burned our anniversary dinner, the tiny emerald ring we'd chosen because we were saving for a future. Then I remembered my sister's call last week. Perned, the first time we'd spoken in years, her voice barely a whisper. I'm sorry I took your future. I was scared of dying alone. I picked up my phone and typed, Mark, Ellie told me everything about how you approached her after her diagnosis, how you convinced her I wouldn't care if you two got together because I'd want her to be happy before she died, how you told her not to call me because rejection would make her cancer worse. His response came quickly. She's confused from the treatments. You know how she's always been jealous of you. I smiled as I typed. The thing is, I recorded our conversation, and I've already sent it to your boss, your parents, and everyone who thought I was the bitter ex, who couldn't accept your beautiful love story. Blocking you now. I closed my banking app where I just transferred $10,000 to help with my sister's treatments. Others deserve to be broken forever. My sister and I have a lot of healing ahead, but at least this time we're on the same side of the story.